Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm Trish, and we're here to talk about
bad words in business. The business of closing deals, calling out the BS, and navigating the chaos of life.
Because contracts aren't the only things that need fine print. We're here to talk about the 30 days of escrow timeline.
Yay!
So most people have a 30-day escrow, unless, of course, you are going to be paying cash. And then we can usually bump it as quickly as possible. But with 30 days, it gives a time to open escrow, have an inspection, make sure that your title is clear, and get with your lender. Sometimes that can be the largest hurdle, is making sure that your lender is ready and that everything that you have done is also ready.
Or it turns into 45 days if you do something dumb to your credit, or you accidentally use that credit card that they told you not to use to buy something, or gosh, who knows? But we used to do 45 to 60-day closings, especially when it's a short sale that you're buying or foreclosure or something that takes the bank to approve forever.
Yes.
But we've done closings that are 5 days.
Yes.
About 5 days, right? That's usually our standard. It takes 5 days because we have to get your title report. And title reports don't just, contrary to popular belief, they do take a little time to get out. However, I will say we're the fastest lightning, and we do get a title report in about less than 24 hours. But then we have to look at it and make sure there's nothing on it.
Exactly. And you know what? What's nice about getting a title report out so quickly is it lets everybody know. Your buyer, your seller, the selling agent, the listing agent, the lender, everybody can know exactly what it is that they are up against if there is something on your title.
Yeah, because at quick glance, we know exactly what's going to slow us down. We know exactly what's going to make us go a little faster. If you only have a mortgage on there, it is quick. We are easy with that. If you have 10 things that you need to pay off on there, it takes a minute. Or if you have something on there from 1970, or we have to call on it, figure it all out. If you've actually lived in your property for a long time, which nowadays I feel like, what do you think the average is? Probably like 7 to 10 years or something, especially the younger generation. I think as you get older, you definitely keep your home longer. But I think when you're young, you're moving around.
Right.
I feel like you're moving around all the stinking time when you're younger.
Things change. I mean, your family grows, or you decide, do you really want to take care of a yard? Do you really need all this space? Because sometimes when you're buying probably your second home, and you've got some equity from the first home, you're like, oh, let's do that.
Yes. I remember my first home when I sold it, we made like a whopping $20,000 off of it or something. And this was like years and years ago. And we were so excited. We went out and bought like a new couch. I was like so excited to get a couch because my first couch was white. I had a baby with it. She spilled red Kool-Aid on it, like all the stupidest stuff. So we were so excited to go get some freaking black leather couches. And then we also bought like snowboarding gear, which was so fun. Maybe spend like $1,000 on snowboarding stuff, but we were stoked. We were so excited. We haven't done that since. My husband actually still has that snowboard, and this was like 2006. So he's had it for a minute. That's how cheap we've become now. But
no, you just put your money in different areas.
Yes. I will say yes. We now focus differently, but oh my gosh, our last house, we actually invested, but that was our forever home. And as soon as we found out how much it was worth, I said, nope, sell it.
Let's go.
Time to go.
Yeah. But then you moved into a massive house.
Yeah. Yes, we did. I was actually telling somebody today that my weather says 109. I think it's a high of 111 today. So we have like another hour or so and it'll just keep heating up. And our power bill is crazy because our house is so big. It's almost unbelievable. But guess what? We took all that money from the house that made a bunch of money and we put it in here. And it's like we just have this sitting savings account, which is awesome because it forces us to not spend. And, you know,
Right.
we're freaking consumers. We love stuff. We love Amazon. We're a typical consumer.
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you do with your first house money?
We put it right into another house. Yeah. So we went from a townhouse that we bought with another couple and we all lived together. So yeah, in 1,400 square feet, what were we thinking? But it got us into a home. That lasted about 6 months and then we ended up buying them out. And, you know, we had our kids in there and then we found a house that was in foreclosure and we ended up buying. So we moved probably 20, 25 miles south of where we were, but it had a yard and it was a corner lot. And so it was just kind of one of those things.
Yes, that's great. That's we did end up putting some of our money, but I mean $30,000 does not go very far.
No, not anymore. Not when you're talking about this house that we own now, and you know you have to put 145,000 down. It's crazy now, but there are still some stuff out there for first-time buyers. So, you know what? Get on board. Zero down or very little down, $5,000 down. That's pretty amazing to get into a home.
Our trick was buy from the builder. Every time we had bought in the past, when we had no money, we always bought builder homes because they always were giving credits. They would give you like closing costs. They would give you fence credits or literally everything, which right now they do that stuff too because don't forget about those stinky interest rates. They are buying down the interest rates. Some builders give you like an entire % off if you're buying from them. They'll buy down your percentage for you, or some of them have their own lenders, so they can give you a certain rate, and it is freaking awesome. I wish I was a first-time home buyer still because the programs are incredible. But once you buy, sell like 3 or 4 houses, you're forced to put in your own stinking money.
You know what? We did end up buying a house in Alabama from a builder. Interest rates were right about 7%. And because we bought it direct, our interest rate was 4.99.
Which is amazing now. Amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, there are things out there. I know that there are some builders out there. You know, if you're still looking to get into something, don't shut off that avenue of buying a home.
Oh yeah. And speaking of interest rates, yes, they are not super amazing right now, but I will tell you my first house was in the double digits and it was so to me 6 to 7%. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it sucks. Absolutely it sucks. However, I'm like, my house was a little cheaper, but my rate was so high that we had to do some finagling with our lending, and it becomes a pain in the rear. Well, no, a pain in your ass. Like a couple years later is what happens when you do some of those tricky financing. So it's not that bad to pay a little extra and not have to do some tricky financing.
And like we always say, you can always refinance. Here's another thing that I don't think people know. Consumer spending also has an effect on your interest rate, not on your interest rate, but on the interest rate, because the more consumers spend, the higher the rate is going to stay. everyone. If you stop spending, interest rates will start to come down because they want to re-stimulate the economy. But everything that happened over COVID was just pure craziness.
Oh,
So, yeah. So, of course, they're going to put a kibosh on it and raise the interest rate, which slows everything down, and we get it. But if people could stop spending money on their credit card, yeah, it would probably be a good thing.
I know. And I don't know if anybody's noticed lately. Well, obviously, I know it's the tariffs, but Amazon is stinking expensive right now. Again, I'm a consumer and I buy everything from Amazon because it comes to me in 5 minutes. It's super convenient. I don't want to have to wait. And God forbid I have to like put on some pants or something to go to the store. So I'm like, you know what? Amazon it is. And in Arizona, they're delivering by drone now in some places, which is also wild. That's a whole different topic. But I was on there the other day and I was like, wow, I'm going to pay like $7 more by going to Amazon, or I can order from this other store that's close, get the same thing delivered and not pay that $7. I was stunned. So of course, I lectured my husband about it. And my husband said, but I like Amazon.
Well, and the other thing is that people are so used to using Amazon. It's that they don't think about it anymore. But yeah, you should take a look. Take a look and see what your pricing is, and sometimes you're going to be surprised. And there are lots of other places where you can order, lots of other delivery. I will tell you, I use Grubhub.
Oh yeah.
And you know how you go into Grubhub and you're going to order it from a restaurant and then you end up getting it. Well, I didn't realize until I was done and got the receipt from the restaurant. Grubhub had upped the pricing on everything that I had ordered by about $40.
Holy shit.
Oh my gosh. It was, and so I got online and they said, well, it sounds like that's your fault. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not using Grubhub anymore.
Yeah, I would have been like, I'm going to jump through this computer and strangle you.
Exactly.
Wow. I learned some stuff the hard way this week. We could talk about tariffs all day because like them, hate them, whatever. I don't care who you voted for. I don't give a shit about any of that shit. I will tell you though, I've been looking at these Nike shoes. They are beautiful. They have hot pink on them. Their new release. I've looked at them a bunch of times and I'm always like, no, they're expensive. They're Nike. I think they're like $150. So they're expensive and it's a commitment and I'm trying to not be a consumer, but we went to the store, a big box store, and they were on sale, 20%. And I'm like, whoa. So I do the math on my calculator and I'm like, I don't know. And I walk the entire store. And then I tell my husband, like, honey, do you see the 20% off in there? Like, so I show him and he goes, yeah, you showed me to those before. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. So he's like, just get them. I'm like, fine. So I end up getting them. Mind you, the 20% was $34 off. I go pay. And as I'm paying, I have like a Nike tank top, a Nike pair of shorts because I needed some walking stuff. I go to pay and I'm like, say what? So then I'm like, whatever, I'm going to buy it anyways. We get out to the car and I'm like, those shoes seem like they were marked up a bit. Because I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, they were $170 with 1% off. And I could have sworn they were like 150, 160, which is still also crazy.
Right.
And yeah, 10, $20, whatever. But I'm like, wow. So then my husband, of course, he's like, well, let me look this up. He goes, it's probably the tariffs. I'm like, no, what are the stupid tariffs? What are you talking about? He looks it up and all Nike products, if it's under $150, so $149 and down, they are adding a minimum of $5 to every product. If it's over $150, it's $10 for every product. And I was like, no wonder, because our bill for all those items was, almost $300. And I was like, this is one outfit. $300 for one outfit. I didn't even get no panties. Like it was a pantyless order for that much. No socks either. But I was like, wow, those tariffs are insane. So now I'm like, darn, I'm not going to be able to buy Nike for a minute. So I could bitch all day about groceries and all the things, but I
think that's another thing is that people are now getting used to spending that amount of money where the sticker shock is no longer. It's I don't look at the bill, my grocery bill, and go, oh my gosh. I just look at it and go, that's about right. So it's I don't know. I mean, we could talk about this forever because Angela and I, we are the money people in our households. Mm-hmm. We are the ones who take care of the bank accounts and we pay the bills and we make sure that there's money in savings. And I always tell people, you have to put money in different buckets. You've got a tax bucket and a savings bucket and a disposable income bucket, your daily bills that have to be paid. I pay my bills on the 4th and the 17th of every month because I can juggle them and that's when paychecks come in. Yeah. So you have to find your own rhythm, but we have become used to when you go to the grocery store, it's now, $75 a bag, where not that long ago, and I mean probably 6 years ago, it was $25 for a bag of groceries, and the bag is smaller.
Yeah.
So,
you can even get a bag.
No, don't even get a bag because that costs you 8 cents in the state of Washington. So don't even bother to get a bag. You should be using your own recyclable bags anyway. Yeah. But it's just when you're talking about the size of the bag and how much is going in there, it's just become crazy.
And one of our podcasts we'll go through and we will tell you guys all the things that we know or that we do, because Trish and I are pretty anal when it comes to finances. So I might be a consumer and I probably spend too much. However, I do know how to manage my money the way it's supposed to be, whether it's right or wrong all the time. I mean,
right.
I'm a human being too. Let's be real. I like to go on vacations and I like nice shit. So it is what it is. But we have some pretty good tips that we'll give out next time. One of these podcasts will give you some ideas on what to do. Trish can elaborate on her buckets.
My buckets.
It's a beautiful bucket idea. All that being said, though, buy a freaking house. Stop ordering from freaking Amazon. At least your house can be a home.
Yeah.
Or it can be an investment. You can freaking buy a rental. You can buy an Airbnb if that's your jam. You can buy a flip. Literally anything.
Yeah.
I am finding that there's all this creative financing too for all those things. So shoot, if you have a rich friend, just ask them for some money. That's what our friends do.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get back on track. So when you're talking about the 30 days of escrow, so normally days 1 through 3 is escrow is opened. And that can mean a lot of different things. That can mean that everybody has signed their contract, that you've been pre-approved by a lender, that the actual purchase and sale agreement has been submitted to escrow to open. Escrow has now reached out to the buyer, the seller, the agent. So all of that should happen in the first 1 to 3 days. So it can be a little bit hectic, but it's definitely everything that needs to be done. All your information, it needs to be correct so that escrow can reach out to you and make sure that what it is that they're reading in the contract is what you need to have in there.
Yes. And we really only bug you probably the first 5 days, I would say, because that's also when your earnest money's due. So those are the days that if you're a buyer, that's when your earnest money's due. So sellers, you get off the hook. We just send you some paperwork. We want to know some information, but you should be paying your bills. So it should be pretty easy to fill out. And then buyers, you turn in your earnest money, you have a couple things to fill out too. It takes you, maybe 10 minutes to fill everything out. And then we leave you alone actually for a long while, almost till that end mark. We give you some updates here and there, but we don't really ask for anything unless you have something crazy. But
right.
I would say most of our transactions, probably, what do you think? 75% of them, we bug you in the beginning and then that's it. You won't be bothered again. We might talk to you, but we won't be asking you for too much.
And then days 3 through 10 is when everything needs to be done. And you'll do a lot of this with your agents. So you'll get a title report. In your title report, you want to make sure that the title is clean for both the buyer and the seller. And then also the inspection on the home. Now, when things were crazy, everybody was waiving the inspection. Now we're finding that people are having their homes inspected again. But the title and the inspection, definitely something that you should be doing because both of them are very vital to the purchase of the home.
Yes. We'll do inspection podcast one day too, to give you some tips and tricks. We're not agents, but I just have experience. We used to not get inspections on builder homes, and builders are not perfect. So I'm sure there's many other buyers out there that assume that the builder is doing everything right. Well, guess what? They're humans.
Right. Then let's look at days 10 through 17. This is when you're going to be more in touch with your lender. And it's really important that you respond because then that's also along with the inspection, you're going to have an appraisal done. You want to make sure, and they want to make sure the amount of money that they are lending on your home actually fits the loan. So we want to make sure that your home does appraise for the right amount.
So and buyers, make sure you're filling out your loan paperwork, and sellers, pay attention to the appraisal because if it comes in lower than what you're selling it for, you're going to have to make some adjustments.
Right. And whether it's on the purchase price, whether you're going to give the buyer credit towards their closing costs, it's also really, really important because the lender is going to set the pace for the closing.
Yes.
So if you aren't getting your information and your paperwork in, it's going to slow down. So most lenders now have a portal. You can go in, you answer the questions, you drop your information in. It should be pretty easy. And if you don't understand it, reach out to your lender. Somebody is going to help you fill out your information or drop all your information in there.
Yes. So sellers, you get kind of the easy route on that one for 10 to 17 days. So you'll be pretty much just hanging out, packing your shit while the buyer on the other end, you're going to be busy. But hello, welcome to buying. This is a life.
And sellers, you're going to have your fingers all crossed because you want to make sure that the appraisal comes in. And, yes. And that is one thing, and we will talk about this on another episode, is just making sure that your house is ready for an appraisal.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
All that stupid shit that you've been putting off, like, gosh, we've had one where the piping under the sink was just out of date. So we just had to change the piping real quick, like silly stuff.
Yeah.
But easy fixes, easy.
It's also things that you live with. It's okay. I'll just live with it. And then pretty soon you go to sell it and they don't want to live with that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, days 18 through 21, we want to remove any contingencies. So in your purchase and sale, there may be some contingencies that need to be removed. Maybe the appraisal, the loan amount. We want to make sure that everything is cleaned before you head into your final week and a half.
Yeah, that's especially important for we work with some builders and their contingency will be feasibility. So they want to make sure that the land that they are purchasing, they can in fact build what they're building on. So feasibility, contingencies, same thing. If you're a home buyer and you're wanting to build a home, so you're buying the land, feasibility is always a contingency of sorts that we want to make sure is good to go. We want to make sure that they verified that you can actually build a house with a toilet.
Right. It's not all wetlands.
Yeah.
Up here, that's a concern. Your area, not so much.
Not down here, but you definitely want to be sure that, we just saw this in a neighborhood right up the road. I live in like a crazy busy neighborhood. We have thousands and thousands of houses here, but right up the road, like a mile across the wash, I can walk there. They all have wells and they all have septic. And yes, so we just saw that the wells are also shared wells. So one thing I've learned about Arizona is like all the water is under the ground, which is like the craziest thing I've ever heard. But they have all those aqueducts or whatever where the water is. Anyway, so you can do a well pretty well here, which is so crazy to me. But they have a shared well. And so one thing I would put as a contingency on is, does that well work?
Yeah.
It's going to produce enough water for me.
Yes. No, seriously.
Next time we'll bring some more fun shit. So keep listening, keep tuning in. You can find us at NW Escrow Title, any of our stuff. Yeah, so stay tuned. When we're famous, we'll be giving out all the stuff.
All right. We will see you. Bye.